The 2024 US presidential election is set for November 5th. With just under 6 months until Election Day, there is much speculation about potential outcomes. In this video, we'll examine the latest polls and offer an early prediction of the results. Stay tuned. Several factors help us predict the outcome of the November election, but without a doubt, polls are the most crucial. First, let's check the national polls. While nationwide polls may not hold as much weight as state-level polls do in the USA, they still provide valuable insights into trends that can guide our understanding. While Trump has maintained his lead for over 8 months, Biden's trend of narrowing the gap in the average poll has remained consistent since early 2024. The April average of polls shows Trump with 46.6% support compared to Biden's 45.1%, indicating a 1.5% lead for Trump. It's important to note that this margin falls within the typical margin of error for most polls, which is usually around plus or minus 3%. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is also in the race, and many believe that overlooking him would be a mistake, as he gains approximately 10% support in polls when voters have the opportunity to consider him. Therefore, when examining polls where respondents were presented with other candidates besides Trump and Biden, Trump's support shrinks to 42.1% and Biden's to 38.9%, widening the gap between the frontrunners to 3.2%. Now let's assess the current electoral landscape based on recent polls. We classify states into 7 categories. First, there are safe states for Democrats and Republicans, indicating states where polls show a margin of more than 15% and where the state consistently votes for a particular party in recent presidential elections. Next, we have likely states for either party, where based on previous voting patterns and current polls, we can confidently predict the winner with a significant degree of certainty. There are also states where polls consistently show a lead by one party, but the margin falls between 5 to 10%. We classify these states as leaning Democrat or Republican. Lastly, we have the battlegrounds or toss-up states. In these states, the gap between Biden and Trump is around or less than 5%. And they are crucial in the Electoral College as they ultimately determine the outcome of the presidential election. Let's now see which states fall into each category. The safe states for Democrats are Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, D.C., Washington, Oregon, California, and Hawaii. Turning to the safe states for the Republicans, they include Montana, Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, Nebraska at the state level along with its 1st and 3rd congressional districts, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, and Maine's 2nd congressional district. Based on this assessment, Democrats have secured 119 safe electoral votes compared to 114 safe votes for Republicans. In the likely states category, Democrats can expect to win Colorado, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, and the 1st congressional district of Maine. Conversely, likely red states include Alaska, Florida, South Carolina, Ohio, and Iowa. Taking these likely electoral votes into account, Democrats would have a total of 191, while Republicans would have 179 votes. Now let's look at the leaning states. Leaning Democrat states include New Mexico, the 2nd congressional district of Nebraska, Virginia, New Hampshire, and Maine at the state level. For the Republicans, we have Texas. With these leaning electoral votes in consideration, Republicans would hold a lead with 219 electoral votes compared to the Democrats' 216. The remaining 103 votes are from the battlegrounds and will be decisive on November 5th, determining the outcome of the presidential election. In the 8 toss-up states, Biden maintains his lead in Minnesota. However, recent polls suggest that Trump is currently ahead in the other 7 toss-up states. In North Carolina, the gap between candidates stands at 5.4%, while Trump holds a 5% lead in Arizona, a 4.5% in Nevada, and 3.8% in Georgia. Trump's lead in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania all fall within the margin of error of polls, respectively at 1.8, 1.2, and 1%. Analyzing the trends of polls reveals that in Arizona, Georgia, and Michigan, the trend is in favor of Biden, while in other toss-up states, we can't see a significant trend. Now when we include RFK Jr. in the polls, these numbers will change slightly. While initially it was believed that RFK Jr.'s presence on the ballot would draw votes away from Biden and potentially benefit Trump, it seems that this is not necessarily the case anymore. As anticipated, the gap between Trump and Biden widens in Nevada, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina, but it shrinks in Arizona and Michigan. It's worth noting that the difference Robert Kennedy makes in almost all of the toss-up states falls within the margin of error, suggesting caution in relying on these changes. However, observing the evolving trend of Kennedy's influence across party lines suggests that he could also disrupt Trump's campaign. While the current situation doesn't entirely favor Trump, if the election were held today and the polls proved accurate, Trump could secure the presidency with 312 electoral votes against Biden's 226. However, it seems unlikely that this situation will remain unchanged in the coming months. Therefore, stay tuned to our channel and we'll keep you updated on the latest polls and predictions. This was a rough prediction of the 2024 US presidential election, made 6 months before the event. If you found this content informative, please like it and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to share your thoughts, comments, and ideas for future topics in the comment section. Thank you for joining, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.